All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis. I am your host, Caleb. You can follow me on the socials at CalebVUA. I've got I'm not going to lie to you, it's not a loaded episode. It is quite an off-season episode. Probably one I should have just done like a little segment season thing for. But your boy is busy and tired when I'm not at work. So these things happen. We're going to see if we can get a little bit of time out of the topics that we have here. But go ahead. If you're listening now, why not just go ahead, subscribe, share this thing before you hear even a second of the real podcast, huh? Let's be a friend here, am I right? Go ahead, subscribe, rate, share, keep this thing growing, and I got nothing else to do, so let me just hit the Gatorade here real quick. Very tired all of a sudden. Probably should have grabbed some caffeine on the way in here instead, but here we are. We're going to get through this thing. We're going to power through it even, because that's what we do on this show. A lot of headlines today, pretty much only headlines. I can't really think of much going on. It is the off season. We're starting like rookie OTAs right now, and who cares about rookie OTAs? League manager in my college buddies' fantasy football league just randomized the draft order today. Your boy's got the number one pick. First time I've had the number one pick in quite some time. And if there's anything I've learned from the past is I am not taking the consensus at number one. I'm probably going somewhere else. Yet to be decided. We have several months before it gets to that point, but exciting times here in the household of Caleb. Great successes ahead. We got very close last year. I'm bringing the boys to the great state of Ohio next year. That's, not a promise, not even a guarantee, but it's a strong assertion that I'm making right now. And boys, it's only success from here. 2025 is going to be the year of Caleb. I assure you that. Anyways, outside of that, let's just get into the headlines, shall we? So, why not just stay right down the road from me here? The Trey Hendrickson situation is getting messy in Cincinnati. So basically, I just give you a little bit of background before we go into the crux of the story here. So the Cincinnati Bengals decided and informed Trey Hendrickson before OTAs or mandatory OTAs here that they were going to fine him for missing OTAs, even though he's in the middle of a contract dispute, even though assumably he's seeking a trade partner, but the longer this goes on, the less I think that he's going to leave. But in the middle of heated contract negotiations, probably not the greatest for him to show up anyways, but they're going to fine him for not showing up. So what does Trey Hendrickson do? He absolutely shows up with no intention to practice, walks, I believe, probably greets the coaching staff and the front office, a little bit of pleasantries. I don't know if this happened before or after that conversation, but he walks straight over to the media and has about a 20-minute session just laying into the Cincinnati Bengals. I couldn't tell you the exact wording, but it was basically like, these guys are kind of screwing me over, and I just want to make it known that I'd love to be here if they would pay me, but they've refused to pay me and they've refused to trade me, so they're kind of holding me hostage here. That was kind of the gist of what was going on there. So things are getting messy. I don't know where the Bengals find the money to pay Trey Hendrickson at this point after they just paid all that money to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. All three of those guys got buku mega deals, essentially. And you could argue that T. Higgins actually took a bit of a pay cut to stay in Cincinnati. I believe he ended up getting, 25 a year, something like that. Maybe a bit more. Maybe he got like $110 million over 4 years or something like that. So good money, but still less than he could have gotten on the open market. He's probably a $30 million receiver on the open market. But even so, you got those three giant contracts on the books. You have a lot of needs on defense already and not a whole lot of money to spend on said needs. Now, at this point, it is what it is. It's pretty much set in stone here. The personnel group that they have is just what they're rolling with, so you better hope that Shamar Stewart turns out to be a solid player. And I would think that having Trey Hendrickson in the building would help that. But the Bengals, who knows, man? I've talked to, being in and around the area, I've talked to countless Bengals fans at this point, both through work and through life, and pretty much none of them have good things to say about the Brown family as an ownership group. I don't think anyone is discrediting them as people necessarily. I mean, they're just cheap, and they don't really go about things in the ways that literally every other organization in the league goes about them, in a professional, sort of not seemingly haphazard manner. And this is just another example of it with the Trey Hendrickson situation. So I don't know where this ends up. I would assume that Trey Hendrickson gets paid, but I would also assume that Trey Hendrickson has made a lot of money throughout his career, and I struggle to see him sitting out a whole season, but I could certainly see him sitting out games in the coming season. And he is the type of player that, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of getting back into game shape for basically anyone that comes off a long holdout. But I trust him to stay in shape for when he ultimately does report. And he will report at some point, it's just a matter of when, and it's all kind of incumbent on if he gets paid by the Bengals. I don't see the Bengals matching the open market. I mean, he's a $30 million a year pass rusher. He's one of the best pass rushers in the entire league. He's been the Defensive Player of the Year conversation for several years running at this point. And he's getting up there. We can't lie about that. I think he's in his 30s at this point, so it's worth questioning how much longer he has left. And this is where Hall of Famers kind of separate themselves with longevity at this point. But I mean, still, you got to take advantage of the time that he has left in his prime. Is it a 3-year deal? Probably. I think at this point in his career, the 3-year extension would be appropriate. Something similar to what Fred Warner got, I would say, except you're going to have to pay Trey Hendrickson more. We're going to talk about Fred Warner here in just a bit, in tandem with another massive contract that I'm sure you have heard about by this point, but 49ers aren't exactly good, so maybe you haven't heard about it, but we'll talk about that here in just a bit. As far as Trey Hendrickson is concerned, I don't know. I mean, I'll put it this way. He's not getting traded at this point. We're already too late in the process. The more you think about it, I think I was still holding to the line that Trey Hendrickson will probably be traded after the draft. I've thought better of that for sure, because at this point, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now, is kind of the way that I see it at this point. And maybe someone comes in over the top with a giant, massive offer with whatever draft capital is needed to get that done. But barring that happening, and honestly, a player like Trey Hendrickson, if you got the money to spend and you're trying to make a championship push, I'm looking at one team in particular in the NFC North that I happen to cheer for. Maybe you make this. Maybe you make this move, though I don't know if the Vikings could actually swing this from a cap perspective. They did spend a lot of money this offseason, but I digress on that front. That's what it's going to take, though. I mean, I struggle to see how the Bengals pay him, and the Bengals aren't going to pay a cent more than they have to, because that's just their ethos as an organization from top to bottom in pretty much every facet, though. It is improving. Give credit where it is due. It is improving. They just a couple years ago got what every other team in the NFL has, an indoor practice facility, and they're using that now. That's good for them. We'll see what else. We'll see what else they do to improve. Honestly, I mean, hey, I don't want to go full doom and gloom on it. I don't want to go full normal Cincinnati fan on this thing, because I'm not. I'm a Vikings fan. Let's make that perfectly clear. But I mean, paying Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I mean, those are things that the Bengals would not do in the past. So there is a measure of credit that has to be given to the Brown family and the front office there. But it doesn't discount the other deficiencies that they clearly have in the the management side of the organization. Yeah, and I don't see how that changes. I don't see them selling either. But I mean, I've kind of delineated. I don't know what's going to happen with the Trey Hendrickson situation. I think the best option is to pay him. I just don't know how you do it. Maybe they restructure some contracts. I truly don't know. I mean, I don't know if they've restructured Joe Burrow's contract yet, but that's a prime one to just, convert to signing bonus, kick the can down the road. You're going to have him, assumably, in the organization for, you hope, the next, decade. So why not kick that can down the road? I mean, don't go too far with it. like Mickey Loomis did after Drew Brees retired and honestly wasn't very good anymore. But you can afford to kick that can down the road and maybe clear up some money for a guy like Trey Hendrickson. Now, I don't know what you do with the rest of the roster after doing that, especially when the scouting department is the coaching staff. It's not like you can rely on consistently good draft classes like, say, the Eagles can over in Philadelphia. But, I mean, I still think if given the option between keeping one of the best pass rushers in the league on your roster and not having that guy on your roster, especially with all the defensive deficiencies that they have, I would choose the former option. I will put it that way. And with that, I think we kind of wrung all the juice we can out of that story. Let's keep it in the AFC North, shall we? The Ravens rewarded Derrick Henry with a 2-year, $30 million contract, and it's not funny money either. 25 of that $30 million is guaranteed at signing there. Massive contract extension after a monster first year in Baltimore. And hey, this is a big investment to give a guy coming off of a great season, but he is in his 30s with that play style, and he seems to be a unicorn at this point with his ability to maintain his body and maintain his play with taking that sheer amount of hits, the workload that he has, and I mean the violent style that he plays with. I mean, the fact that he's still running this well at his age is, I mean, he is every bit the athlete, I would say, as a guy like a LeBron James, even, I would say, like a Russell Westbrook. And we're not talking about the same type of players in their given sports. Obviously, LeBron is in the argument for greatest player of all time. It's basically him and Mike. We're not saying that about Derrick Henry. But as far as like a pure athlete is concerned, like concern for the body, I would put him right on that level with what he's been able to do in the era that he's played in. I guess you could say he's probably had a little bit more of an advantage than guys in previous generations, just based on, one, the science, but more prominently the players that he's going up against. A lot smaller players than guys like Brandon Jacobs were when they were just running through defenses face first, like, you know, Derrick Henry does as well. But still, to do it for this long with that play style is incredible. And hey, shout out to the Ravens. I love seeing players get paid a bunch of money, and he earned this contract. And I think he's still got 2-3 good more years left in him to go out there and really pump up the all-time numbers. Love Derrick Henry, man. I'm glad he turned out to be the player that he has been. Because I've said it before, but it's worth saying again. If you want a good laugh, just go look at the high school statistics for Derrick Henry. They're hilarious. I think he rushed for like nearly 10,000 yards in high school, if not over 10,000 yards in high school. He's one of the greatest high school players of all time. And if you can find the tape out there, it is also hilarious. It looks like Derrick Henry playing against high schoolers. That's the best way I can describe it. But shout out to Derrick Henry there. That is the main point of this. Ravens, once again, you know I'm high on them. I think I got them winning that division. I think they're clearly the best team in that division, honestly, by a mile at this point. Every other team has regressed in their varied ways. The only one that I could see challenging them in that division is the Bengals, and the deficiencies on defense certainly put them far behind the Ravens in my book. Derrick Henry is a huge part of that, and hey, they got to win a Super Bowl here at some point. At the very least, they got to get themselves to a Super Bowl. Otherwise, people they're already talking, but they're going to keep talking louder and louder. And I don't want that. I love Lamar Jackson. I love Todd Monken as an offensive coordinator. I love what John Harbaugh does on a yearly basis with hiring. Maybe the best identifier of defensive coordinator talent in the entire league at this point with who he's been able to hire time after time after time, and putting out like legitimately solid head coaches down there. You remember Chuck Pagano a long time ago. Back when I was in high school. Obviously, Mike McDonald over with the Seahawks right now. There's others in the in-between there, but I just can't quite remember off the top of my head. But hey, shout out to John Harbaugh. Always seems to have a good defense there in Baltimore year after year, and that's a product of the culture, product of the head coach, and just the coaching acumen over there. So shout out to them. Enough of that, though. We keep it moving. Now, on to the 49ers of it all. Probably should have led with this, but I honestly feel like the Trey Hendrickson situation is a little bit more important as far as right now is concerned. We knew it was coming, just a matter of time, but there was no other option for the 49ers here. They paid Brock Purdy a massive 5-year, $265 million contract extension, $53 million of average annual value. So didn't break the bank, didn't set any records, but paid their quarterback $53 million. So, hey, good for Brock Purdy, first and foremost. That's a huge contract. I think we can pretty safely say at this point that the 49ers window, as it was with the core that they had, is just about closed. We already knew that with what they were doing this offseason, and you could really read the tea leaves with them clearing that much cap space that the Brock Purdy extension was coming. But I mean, just to, see the final numbers, they handed out another big contract extension that we're going to talk about here. I mean, you already know it's Fred Warner, but they've locked themselves into these huge contracts. They don't have the stars on rookie deals anymore. And unless this draft class turns out to be gangbusters, in which case, window right back open. Maybe Ricky Pearsall comes along in year 2 and becomes a legitimate, number 1 wide receiver. I mean, the dude did get shot in the preseason last year. So, I mean, I could see how that would affect your rookie year performance. But now, Deebo Samuel out of there. Ricky Pearsall, very similar skill set. I would honestly say a better, receiver as far as, contested catches going up for the ball. He makes some acrobatic catches in the secondary. If you go back and watch his college film, he is an absolute demon out there. I like Ricky Pearsall, and I'm excited to see what he does in a more prominent role in the Shanahan offense. But at the same time, I mean, these draft picks basically have to pan out because now really you blew it with having Brock Purdy on a 7th-round rookie deal. And, I mean, it wasn't for a lack of trying. I mean, they went all in. They spent big money on free agents. I mean, they maxed out the roster. They had the best roster in the NFL for a good 2-3 year stretch there. They just couldn't capitalize when it was all said and done, and that... Much like Michael Jordan, people have drawn this parallel, but let me be the 5 millionth one to do it at this point. Patrick Mahomes, man, he's going to be viewed a lot like Michael Jordan as far as being a thief of joy when it comes to championship success for other great players, coaches, GMs, all of that. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is what at this point? 3 Super Bowls, has gone to 1 million Super Bowls at this point, has basically kind of beat the 49ers at every given opportunity here when it gets to the Super Bowl in the most heartbreaking fashion too. I mean, the 49ers in many cases should have won those games, but head-scratching decisions by Kyle Shanahan in the clutch. And then that's all she wrote, man. That's pretty much it. Not going for 2 in the overtime period in that playoff game, or maybe not. I can't remember if it was going for 2 at the end of regulation or in the overtime. I truly can't remember at this point. But basically, just giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes when he should be trying to score. That's been Kyle Shanahan's problems. Conservative to a fault in a lot of these situations, and you look up. Next thing you know, your rookie 7th-round quarterback is no longer on a rookie deal, and you're paying big money to Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Brandon Ayuk got paid last offseason. Trent Williams is still getting paid. That's a contract that they're probably going to have to get off the books here at some point. One of the greatest left tackles of all time. And who's to say he might be the Tom Brady of left tackles, or Jason Peters, if you will, and just play well into his 40s. But which I guess is possible at the tackle position. We've seen guys like, Dwayne Brown, I believe, was in his 40s. I don't know if he's got a team again this year, but he was 41 last year, still playing football. Guys play for a long, long time at that position, but at the same time, it's at that money, it's at some point, there is a breaking point as far as what you can sustain on the books and still try to play for championships at the end of the day. So, I mean, they're probably not a championship contender this year, and they're probably not a playoff team this year. Now, that's not saying anything about what they could do in subsequent years. It is all, at this point, when you got these big contracts on the books, that's when you need to plow extra resources, organizational resources into the scouting department, because the drafts are going to be the lifeblood for you as far as championship contention and really the regime as a whole going forward here. So that's what your hope is if you're a 49er fan. You better hope that they nailed these draft picks that they made this past offseason, because if they don't, they're not going to be a very good team. And hey, for what John Lynch has done as far as getting great players in there has been a lot of misses. I don't forget Tyrion Davis-Price, a running back that you drafted in the 3rd round and ultimately was not a good enough running back. Actually, no. There was Tyrion Davis-Price. That was a 3rd round pick. I believe Trey Sermon was a 2nd round pick. These are guys that you drafted, running backs in high draft positions, that ultimately could not cut it in the Shanahan running scheme. Just couldn't do it. And that's on John Lynch. If you can't find a running back that'll work in the Kyle Shanahan offense, I mean, you're playing the game on easy mode here. What are you doing? How do you mess this up? I mean, that's where you can kind of side eye it here. But hey, couple good draft classes, and that shuts guys like me right up. And I think he's got pretty good job security at this point. Him and Kyle Shanahan are tied at the hip, though, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's going to be a great season for him coming up, though. I don't think so. Also referred to about 1 million times. Might as well rip the Band-Aid off as far as the headline is concerned. They followed up the Brock Purdy extension with an extension for their star inside linebacker Fred Warner. It's a 3-year, $63 million extension after his current deal ends. That puts him at $21 million a year. That makes him the highest paid inside linebacker in the league for all intents and purposes. As far as average annual value, I believe that Roquan Smith extension was higher money-wise because it was a 5-year, $100 million deal whenever he signed it. Still, the market price, by the way, up until Fred Warner set that market, which should tell you everything you need to know about Roquan Smith and what kind of player he is. Also, what a great deal he signed. I believe self-represented, if I'm not mistaken. Negotiated that deal himself. I believe $60 million guaranteed. Hey, I believe he's probably earned more than that in incentives and roster bonuses. So I notice, Roquan. I notice, and I appreciate you as a human being and as a linebacker, because you're an absolute demon. Got way off topic there, though. Fred Warner. Somehow turned a Fred Warner segment into a Roquan Smith segment. I apologize for that. Fred Warner deserves his own segment because he is right there neck and neck with Roquan Smith. As good as Roquan Smith is, Fred Warner is still every bit as good as him. And again, if given the option between keeping a great player on my team and having that great player go elsewhere, I'm usually going to pick the option that makes me keep the best player, even if it is paying him a whole lot of money. But I don't have to belabor the point. Paying a guy that amount of money is going to have salary cap ramifications that are only going to be remedied on the Super Bowl contention side with good drafts. And again, beat that a point to death like a dead horse here at this point. Pretty visceral metaphor, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I love the signing, but I understand that, I mean, the 49ers window is closed at this point. More than willing to be proven wrong. I just don't think I am. So that's why I feel the way I feel. I mean, they're just not deep on defense anymore. That roster is not nearly what it was 2 years ago when they were the best defense in the entire league. Just not good. Just not a good group there. I wouldn't say not good. I'll backtrack on that. They've had some defensive coordinator struggles. They have Robert Saleh back in the building as the defensive coordinator, which I think helps out a lot. He called a great defense there, but this is not the roster that he had back when he was the defensive coordinator several years ago. It's a lot of the same players, but hey, 4 years, however long it was, 3-4 years, that's a long time in the NFL, and those guys are older at this point. Nick Bosa getting a little bit nicked up, banged up. Fred Warner's still got some left in the tank, but he's also starting to get nicked up, banged up. They've got other guys out there. They lost Talanoa Hufanga this offseason. Dre Greenlaw, I can't remember if he was with them last year or not, but he's not there anymore. I mean, I think they whiffed on Drake Jackson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and if not, I apologize to that man. If he's not even a defensive tackle, that would show you how much ball I know. That's why I'm unqualified when doing this analysis. But offensive line has always really been a work in progress. I mean, Trent Williams is the glue that's holding that whole thing together. I mean, he might be the greatest offensive tackle of all time, but that helps out the Kyle Shanahan offense a whole lot when you can just have a guy that is a cheat code. You just run behind him and good things happen. Christian McCaffrey is coming off of like double Achilles strains and tendonitis, and then parlays that into a PCL tear when he comes back. He's sustained a laundry list of injuries in his NFL career. How much more can you expect out of him at this point? You're always going to have a back there, so there is that, but you traded away Jordan Mason this offseason as well. I mean, you traded away Deebo Samuel on the outs. I mean, this is just... also forgot to mention George Kittle when it comes to those big-time contracts as well. They signed him to an extension this offseason. They're cash-strapped, and they need young talents in there. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do, but don't get it twisted. I do love re-signing a great player because there is value to having great players in your organization, and ultimately probably leads to more great players coming after, because who better to mentor young players than great players? What more is there to say? So love the signing. I know what that means for the team in the short run, though. That's where we'll leave it. One more contract extension for the Eagles this offseason. They've also been a team on a spending spree. Creative salary cap management. They always find money to spend, and also it helps when you just hit dingers in the draft year after year after year. If you want to model on consistent success and how to achieve it, that's how you do it. You get a couple great players in the organization. You make wise decisions about which players to let go and which players to pay. You pay big contracts to players, do some salary cap magic to get some spending space, and then you just nail it in the draft year after year after year. Howie Roseman, I don't know if he's underrated at this point. To me, he's, best GM in the entire league. He's been that for quite some time. But does it again. Nick Sirianni got signed to a contract extension. Again, just rewarding guys that get you there. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I mean, coaches don't leave unless you don't pay them, which why would Howie Roseman ever not pay a guy that just won him a Super Bowl? Kind of wild that the last two coaches, I believe, in there. Doug Peterson wins the Super Bowl, gets fired. They hired Nick Sirianni, and then he ultimately goes and wins the Super Bowl as well. That's just great. That's just good stuff there for the Eagles. I just wish they weren't. I wish they weren't beating the hell out of the Vikings from time to time. That's really all I ask for. They're going to have another opportunity to do it, but the Vikings are going to have an opportunity of their own to come right back at them. So I'm excited. I'm real excited for. I'm real excited for the NFC in general this year. I think there are still some really, really good teams in the NFC. I think you could see some teams that were good last year drop off and be replaced by really, really good teams still in the NFC. So it's an exciting season coming up, folks. Very exciting season, and I'm excited to have it with you. One more headline here, and as expected, this is going to be a pretty short episode, but we'll see how much we're going to get out of this. It is a retread conversation. I apologize, but it's something that's worth reiterating because it is very topical. They are once again, they being the NFL owners, going to try to ban the tush push at the league meetings in Minneapolis this week, I believe. And I would like to stress again that anyone voting to ban this is a loser. And no, I don't mince words if that does happen to, if the Vikings happen to fall in that cross section of loserdom. It's a loser thing to do. If you want to stop it, figure it out, man. This is still football. You can't just ban a play because one team is better at it than every other team, when every other team has tried it, and they can try it, and they are just not nearly as good. I think you should, crazy idea. I think you should reward teams for having unique skill sets. And I don't think changing the rules because they're too good at one thing is rewarding that skill set. And by the way, Jalen Hurts, when you just switch it back to a QB sneak, he's still going to be next to unstoppable in this play because they're still going to basically do the rugby scrum sort of thing. And he's got the strongest lower body of any quarterback in the entire league. And he's a great runner, a powerful runner. So he's just going to move the pile another yard or two. And what are you going to do then? Are you going to ban the QB sneak? Or, I mean, what loser shit is going to happen next? I mean, at a certain point, everyone else can do it. And the fact that they can't convert it on a regular basis like the Eagles do shows that this play should not be banned. If it was a wide, pervasive problem, maybe you can have a different conversation. But it's just one team that is better at this play than everyone else. And I hot take, I feel like that should be rewarded. But that's just me. That's just me. If you don't like it, figure out a way to stop it. But getting the rules changed is it's loser shit. There's no other way to put it. It is loser shit. And deep down inside, I think you guys know it. That being said, short episode this week. There's not really a whole lot going on. This is a pretty typical off-season episode. I think short and sweet this time around. We don't want to wear out our welcome here, folks. And I think if I did anything more from here, completely unstructured, that's a dangerous, dangerous proposition right there, folks. And I don't want to risk it. So with that, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but I think a good one here. So thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. If you enjoyed this, go ahead, give it a subscribe. Usually the episodes are longer. Next week's episode probably going to be longer if I had to guess. But this will be a good little taster if you are just getting into the show. You can make a decision from here whether you want to stick around and listen to the longer episodes or not. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you've gotten to this point, might as well hit subscribe and give it the old college try, if you will. Like, rate, share, all that stuff that helps me grow this thing a little bit. I say please and thank you to you, sirs, madams, theys, thems, anyone. Hey, this podcast is open to anyone that's willing to listen. That's what I like to say here. We join this congregation, and you will be loved like a brother, sister, or whatever you refer to yourself as. That's where I'll leave it. Follow me on the socials at CalebVUA. Basically, just Twitter on that. And I'll never stop calling it Twitter. Never tell me otherwise. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I've got just about no clue what I'm talking about, and it comes across sometimes, I'll tell you what. But I think we make the most out of it. One thing I learned this week, boy, oh boy, listen to this shit. At 6'5", 449 pounds, Tampa Bay Buccaneers rookie defensive tackle and former Florida Gator Desmond Watson had a higher vertical at the NFL Combine with 25 inches than 6'10", 240-pound Auburn star, did I say LB? 240-pound Auburn forward Janai Broome at the NBA Combine. Let me say that again. I really messed that up. At 6'5", 449 pounds, Tampa Bay Buccaneers rookie defensive tackle Desmond Watson had a higher vertical at the NFL Combine with 25 inches than 6'10", 240-pound Auburn forward Janai Broome had at the NBA Combine with 24.5 inches. And that is that's undrafted, folks. That's what that is. I hope you have a pro day coming up where you can rectify that, because I watched the video, and honestly, me at 29 years old, probably blow out an Achilles, but I think I could possibly get higher than that. And no, I will not test that theory because the older I get, I am deathly terrified of having an Achilles tear. It is the thing that keeps me up at night. So, not doing that. Not doing that, I will say. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking in circles now. I'm going to get this thing edited, uploaded, and hey, you guys have a good week. Have a good Memorial Day. Won't see you until, I believe, Memorial Day. or the day after Memorial Day, I suppose. So hope you have a good Memorial Day. I'll see you on the Tuesday after, which is basically a Monday, but it's going to be a 4-day week. So we're riding high. We're riding high. Enjoy the festivities. Enjoy whatever you enjoy. Golf. Who's to say? I mean, fucking pickleball. I don't know, man. I said I was going to stop this show a minute ago, and I haven't stopped. So I will see you guys next Tuesday. You have a good one, and be safe out there, kids. Bye-bye.